A national debate over racial disparities in the US criminal justice system continued on Wednesday as chaos gripped the St. Louis suburb, where a white police officer shot and killed the unarmed black teen Michael Brown.
It makes me not want to have a son. I mean, if he's a black male, he's always going to be stereotyped, and he's always going to have a risk just walking down the street. So, it worries you about your family. The man, Mike, the man who just got shot, he looks like my sibling. He looks like people that I know, so it scares me.
Attorney Dee Hunter said he has been targeted by police simply because of his race.
We do see it differently because we are affected. Police brutality, police dominance is something that affects communities across America. I'm an educated man. I have a law degree. I have several professional degrees, and I myself have been subjected to intimidation type behavior by police officers right here on U Street, where I've lived for 27 years.
Street protests in Ferguson, a predominantly African-American community of 21,000 people, have been punctuated by looting, vandalism and clashes between demonstrators and police every night since 18-year-old Michael Brown was killed by a white police officer. An autopsy conducted on behalf of Brown's family showed he was shot at least 6 times, including twice in the head. The path of one bullet indicates he may have been lowering his head in surrender when the fatal shot hit. The turmoil has generated international headlines and exposed simmering racial tensions in Ferguson, whose police force, political leadership and public education administration are dominated by whites. The latest chapter in the American history of race relations is not very different from previous chapters, Howard University Afro-American Studies Department Chair Greg Carr said.
Well, I think race relations in the United States of America have been remarkably consistent over the arc of the life of the Republic. Certainly slavery was abolished, but then we went through another century of legal segregation, and we're only 50 years out from that period, give or take a few years. And during this stretch of post-desegregation, what we find is that de facto segregation in many areas of American life have actually increased. Some of the schools are more segregated now than they were before the end of Jim Crow. Unemployment rates, poverty rates are sharper now than ever. Incarceration rates are higher for African Americans now than at any time in American history, including slavery. So when we start talking about racial progress, I think when we start looking at the numbers, it becomes much less clear.
Racially motivated riots could be avoided by having a proactive rather than reactive government, Prince George's County, Maryland Executive Russian Baker said.
It shouldn't have taken this incident to look at the makeup of the police department and say, hey, we got a problem.
Government and police demographics should match community diversity, Baker said, and authorities should be held accountable so residents don't develop mistrust. Prince George's County installed cameras in police cars and jails and have a Twitter handle posted on their patrol cars. Steps, Baker said, have helped create transparency.
There's not one act that's going to stop it from ever happening again, and there's not one act that's going to cure it. It's us being vigilant each and every day and understanding as diversity changes, as governments change, that we make sure that people feel that they can address their issues in a way that is conducive to the Constitution of the United States. What you see in Ferguson is why people focus on it is it's not a protest. That's a riot. When they break things and break in stores, it means we don't have any faith in you addressing our issues.
A grand jury was expected to begin a criminal inquiry into the shooting on Wednesday, the same day U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder was visiting Ferguson. Edward Maggie, a spokesman for the St. Louis County Prosecutor's Office, said the case could be presented this week to a grand jury, which will decide whether Wilson will be indicted.